Welcome, bounty hunters and Star Wars fans alike. It is your favorite Monday night Star Wars fan show. All bets are off. We are here with a very special show. It is I, Jason the Tuscan Toast in beautiful Miami, Florida. And with me, as always, is Brian, the charismatic Carillion in gorgeous San Antonio, Texas. Brian, welcome back to the big show. How are we tonight?
I'm okay. How are you, esteemed Tuscan Toast?
Oh my God, I am chilly. It is chilly here in Miami.
In
I
Florida?
don't, yes, I don't know what's going on. It's okay. So I woke up this morning. It was nice and brisk, like it usually is, right? Walking out the door, getting ready for work, whistling along. And then around noontime, the wind starts picking up, and I'm like, shivering because I have no more body fat. After the Chicky Nucky challenge had traumatized me for life, and I lost all that weight and got super healthy, I have no more body fat to keep me warm, so it's really chilly. But that's okay because when it gets hot here, I mean, it gets hot, it gets super hot. So, but anyways, man, how are you doing over there? Did you have a nice Easter weekend?
Uh, Easter was quiet, uneventful,
Okay,
uh,
all right,
peaceful.
good.
Uh, so
HEB
that
had
was
you off,
good.
right? You were off for HEB, right?
Oh yes.
Okay, good. That's good. Mm.
Uh, and we have a really treat for everyone, especially
We do.
if if you're on the collector side of things today. I mean, you're in for a very nice, just palatable display of collectible showmanship today.
Yeah, and
That's what we have in store for you. It's going to be a really good show from that end. I mean,
right, right.
I know I normally bring tidbits to Collector's Corner, but this is so much more than Collector's Corner today. I'm excited. I'm verklempt.
Yeah, and the reason I'm really excited is because you know what you do, right, as far as collecting. I mean, and it's not just Star Wars. You have a lot of other stuff too that people don't realize, and you don't really realize it until you get inside your house and see it. Like I got to during Thanksgiving last year. Is that this takes a real passion collecting, and we talk about, yes, we throw those tidbits in every now and again, but it's a passion, and it's a passion like any other hobby or craft that people do, because there is a lot that goes into this, and I don't think
Oh
people
yeah.
really realize how much logistical planning it takes, how much networking it takes to get the things that you want, right? And it's
Blood,
not
sweat, and tears, my friend. Blood, sweat, and tears.
blood, sweat, and tears. And I don't discount this or downplay this, because
No, no.
this is not like, what is it called? When people collect things just to make money, those stupid fur babies or whatever it was back in the day. It's not that kind of crap. This is stuff that actually has sentimental meaning,
Hmm.
and I respect collectors, and I admire what they do, because it is truly that. It is a collection, and it's a beautiful thing to see. It really doesn't even matter what you collect, whether it be sports memorabilia, Star Wars memorabilia, movie memorabilia, books.
Absolutely.
It's beautiful to see somebody very passionate and knowing so much like you do.
Yep.
And what's great about today is that we're going to focus on that. We're going to focus
Yes.
on the collector side of these things.
And we have
And
someone very knowledgeable,
yes, and
and not just knowledgeable, but the ability to score things that I can't even score.
and
So
and
that's
and,
that's
and
what.
this and this is
Yeah.
great, because I'd like to kind of pick his brain a little bit to see what it is that
Oh
that
yeah.
he does, because we've talked about this in the past about how Hasbro does their things, and I had kind of thrown in the idea of some sort of subscription service, where you would
I
pay.
wanted to touch on that, by the way.
Well,
I
we
wanted
can,
to
yeah,
touch. Yeah.
we can definitely touch on that a little bit.
Yeah.
But we're on for an hour and we don't have a whole lot of time.
Right.
So
Right.
I want to go ahead and just roll right into this. And Brian,
And
I'm gonna
as always, real quick, we want to be sure and thank everyone with Pharaoh's Designs and also Bad Customs
yeah,
as we lead into our guests. We
Yes,
appreciate everything they do for us,
and
so
I
be
do,
sure and check them out.
and I do want to remind everybody that Brianna at Bad Customs has been going live a lot more, and she's been
Yes,
demonstrating and showing everybody how she makes her custom products, and it's a wonder to see. So please definitely check her out, and I mean,
and Renee
and
and Rose are really also at the monogram game right now, especially with baseball stuff going on. So they show you what they do with their machine. So
yeah,
you
this
guys
is
go check
yeah.
out these pages.
Yeah,
It's
go
good
check.
stuff.
Go, definitely check them out. But Brian, I'm going to go ahead and let you make the
Yeah,
introduction.
let's do this. Let's
Introduction.
get them. Let's do this.
Okay. Yeah.
We're
All
here.
right. There we are. Okay. Go ahead.
Yay! Everyone, I have the distinct pleasure of introducing John Alaman to All Friends Are Off. John is what I like to call the pops aficionado. This John has a passion for pops and ability to acquire pops like I've never seen. But not just that, he's also very much into the comic scene as well. And I mean, he's got some issues that would surprise many. So I know one of the things you've done, John, is you actually had a photograph taken with Stan Lee. That's not a lot of, that a lot of folks can see.
Hello there.
So
Hello there.
Sorry. John, can you hear us?
uh,
Okay.
So I can hear you. I can hear you. Thanks for
Great.
having me on.
Great. Thanks for coming on. This is exciting, Brian. We don't really get to have a whole lot of guests, and I mean,
no,
and this is fun. The last guest we had was my dad during Christmas Day when we did our special.
yes.
Um, which was great because we got the OG perspective of a Star Wars fan, and now we're going to go into a master collector. So, Brian, let's go ahead and start the show, man.
So John, I mean, just from what I know, just from some of the things I've touched on, comics, pops, but also I know you movies, and from you're huge into Stanley Kubrick, and some uh is very familiar with scores from John Williams, and that being the case, Star Wars is also a part of the things that you delve into. And I know that Pops has started to become a thing with Star Wars, and you have, I would say, a unique knowledge to Pops because you've been with this pop scene since it broke from the ground up. That being said, why don't you come in a little bit, let us know about your passions for Pops, whatever else you want to drop in, but maybe give us a little background on Pops. Just what is it? Where did it come from? How did it get to where it is right now? Just drop all the dimes, drop all the knowledge dimes right now on us. Just do it.
The Funko Pops are, of course, from the Funko Company, which was started in 1998. They started
Wow,
making,
98.
yeah, 1998. They started making bobbleheads called Wacky Wobblers, and the first one they made was for the Big Boy Burgers, which is a very popular burger chain in Los Angeles.
The the stuff that was in Austin Powers, the big
Yeah,
the big
that
huge the.
and you may remember it from the movie Midnight Madness.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they also started doing ad icons like Count Chocula, Frankenberry, Boo Berry, and they were started by a guy named Mike Becker, and he ran with the Wacky Wobblers, and one year he made $800,000, and he eventually in 2005 sold the company, and he sold it to a guy named Brian Mariotti, who is their current CEO. And 5 years later is when the first Funko Pops came out. The first ones that came out were a 3-pack of DC characters at San Diego Comic Con. It was Green Lantern, Batman, and Batgirl.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was a 3-pack, and it's they're worth a pretty penny now. And they didn't really take off that much because they were seen as a convention thing. It wasn't until The Walking Dead became very popular that the pops started to really sell. In fact, my first pop I've ever had is Michonne.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
cool! Look
Yeah.
at that.
Yeah, Michonne was the first one I ever bought. The mistake is I threw away the box, but I learned my. Yeah, but I also
He
would like,
dared to open it.
yeah, and you have to let him breathe. No, just kidding. But what what happened is once
Well, they come to life at night when you're not looking. Don't forget.
yeah, well, she's got a sword, so katana. But what happened is, as The Walking Dead became more popular, the pops started to really sell. And the only downside with the pops is they all had the same pose, so they were made. The body was made from the same mold. So as the convention scene became more and more popular in the in the last decade, they were starting to make more exclusives. Like New York Comic Con wanted exclusive, just like San Diego Comic Con, Emerald City Comic Con did. And then the exclusives also started going into retailers like Barnes and Noble, Hot Topic, places like that. And some of these pops actually started to attain value. And people started to like the idea like they can go to a convention and get something that they could only get at that convention. And it ties into the Star Wars thing. Star Wars was one of the first properties to be going into the Funko Pop universe. In fact, some of the most valuable pops out there are Star Wars pops. Kind of like there's a Darth Maul that's worth like $6,000.
What?
Ooh,
Yes,
wow. 6
the,
grand?
the hologram Darth Maul, which is one of the most limited ones, is worth about $6,000.
Good
And
grief.
That's incredible, man.
I don't think there's anything in my collection that's got that kind of value. Nothing. That is insane.
Well, that you know
Um,
of.
let,
you know of
Yeah.
let me just backtrack real quick. So that first Comic Con that you talked about, I guess, in San Diego, where the DC 3-pack with Lantern, Bat, Wonder Woman. You were.
it was a
I missed the three.
Green Lantern, and Batman.
Oh, okay. Was that the first Funko? I don't know if I had that right or wrong. Was that the first
Yeah,
Funko Pop, or
those were the
was
first
it
three.
Michonne that was the first one?
Those were the first ones.
That 3-pack was the first one. Then it went to Michonne.
And then they started doing Walking Dead, and
Wow.
they made some exclusives as well. Like the first really rare one was Alex DeLarge, the main character from Clockwork Orange. They made a glow in the dark variant of him, and there's only 16 in existence. And that one is worth roughly
No.
$14,000.
Wow.
So and most of
That
those
is
went
insane.
to employees in the UK, and but some have made their way across the pond here. And recently, I would say 2 years ago at New York Comic Con, one was purchased for 11,000.
$11,000?
$11,000
Yeah.
for that one Funko Pop. There's only 16 in existence.
Oh,
Only
well, that's
16.
why.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. That-
That's absolutely incredible.
wow.
What's the most valuable one that you have?
The most valuable one I have, I would probably have to say, is the one I'm going to show you, which is the big surprise. And
Ah, okay. All right.
yeah,
Okay.
which I
I
bought
see.
knowing coming on the show. And the thing is, what makes it valuable is the rarity of an aspect of this pop. There's something concerning this pop that makes it rare, especially in the times of the pandemic that we're in now. And you'll see, and I'll explain everything. But I also I have I've actually in the past owned the gold Luke Skywalker from San Diego Comic Con, and that one at one time was worth 14,000. And then it started. And thing is, it went down in value, but not by much. But it's the pattern with some of the Star Wars pops that a lot of them don't retain value, but some of them do, and it's because of the con exclusives are the ones that usually retain their value. If it's from New York Comic Con, San Diego Comic Con, Star Wars Celebration, those are big. And Of course, there's two different types of convention pops. One is the one that actually has the convention sticker on it that will say either Star Wars Celebration or New York Comic Con, San Diego Comic Con, and you have the shared exclusives, which are the same pops, but you buy them at a retailer, but they don't have the label of the Comic Con name. They'll have a vague name, so I can show you one. If you see here, this is it kind of has a vague name. It says like Summer Convention. This is one you can like
Oh, okay.
you can buy this at a, like say you can buy it at Hot Topic or but the ones like I tell people the one you want is the one with the convention sticker on it. And,
Right.
and I can find the one. This one's a good one. Uh, Brian Fontana from Anchorman. If you see that, it has the emblem convention. Yeah, it actually has the insignia that has the logo. That's the one you want. And this is one of the few scented ones. And this is probably the most unpleasant of the scented ones because it smells like gasoline, but which is Sex Panther. He actually the basically holding a bottle of Sex Panther. So yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It smells like
That's hilarious.
it smells like gasoline. And the thing, if you were to get the shared sticker, you're looking at maybe like $25. The one the one I have, which has the con sticker, is worth 75. So there's a disparage in values. So if you're looking to get convention pops, you want the one that has the actual con logo. And the thing is, with the pandemic, it's become easier because these conventions aren't taking place, but they're still selling these pops. And what they do is they have a lottery system. If you have a fan club account to Funko, you get registered automatically. And then if you get into the lottery, you actually have an opportunity to get the actual convention stickered pops. In the past, if you weren't at the convention, you had to settle for the shared sticker. Yeah. Yeah.
You
Pretty
use the bot.
what?
You use the bot. You how 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 many shows? How many how many shows? How many shows I come in here in Collector's Corner and I talk about bots? How many? How many? And then you go. I I don't know what's worse, the fact that you used it or that you kept this from me. You know, you know it's good you came on, John, because now I got him caught red-handed.
Yeah, because he's gonna.
He's got nowhere.
Yeah,
Nowhere.
yeah,
He
because
is
he's
totally busted that he used the bot. Now I'm gonna, I'm gonna forgive.
busted.
I'm gonna.
Hey, he froze up a little bit. Brian kept it from you. What? What? Okay, Brian froze up a little bit because I don't know. I think he's using AT&T. Um, so am I. But
So
what, what,
I am too. So.
yeah, well, when we get him back, which may be later rather than sooner, that's okay. But what I'd really like to know is not just Funko Pops that you collect, right?
Yes, I have a large collection of comic books.
Okay,
Uh,
so what's is it mostly Marvel, DC, or another brand?
well, I would say it's about 75% Marvel. I'm more of a Marvel guy, but I do love Batman and I do love Superman and
Hmm.
some of the indie comics as well.
Hey, am I back or am I
Yeah,
gone?
you're back. You're back finally. I can hear you now.
Am I
Yeah,
back with video?
yeah, you have video. It's grainy, but it's video. You're there. I see you, man.
Grainy.
Yeah. But John, so how young were you when you started collecting comic books?
I would say I was about 7 years old. I lived in the downtown area, like near, San Antonio, of course.
Right.
And there was a 7-Eleven like a block away, and I had an uncle who had a small collection of comic books, and I would read them.
Uh-huh.
And the 7-Eleven got comic books quite often, new ones, and I would, of course, get an allowance from doing chores, and I would go get like the latest Captain America or
Uh-huh.
the latest Wolverine, and and over the years, I like my collection got bigger and bigger and bigger, but not too big. And it wasn't until I started working is where I started buying. And as an adult, I would go to comic book conventions and meet people and strike deals with people. And I was looking for specific ones, and I've
Mhm.
amassed a pretty large collection. And I've shown there are times where I've shown Brian some of the comic books I've attained, and he would
Oh
freak
yeah.
out.
I would just I would be beside myself
That's
pretty much.
yeah, and that's incredible because I mean I collect too, but I consider myself a novice, if anything, a novice because I mean what do I have? I have the things that I think were collector's items when I was a kid. I haven't really gotten anything since the death of Superman, the return of Superman, Venom #1, or the Venom Lethal Protector #1, which I'm sure you're a fan of. Um, I have several copies of that. I don't know how I landed those, but those are the things that I keep and maintain. Um, and I have been a very big Marvel fan, and I have been a huge fan of some of the latest story arcs coming from DC. Mostly the death in the family, the death of the family. Both of those story arcs from Batman, and then the injustice. And I've talked about this a lot because it kind of ties into the Snyderverse type stuff.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so my stuff is small and minimal. I mean, it's precious to me, but it's small and minimal. But that's fantastic. And for someone like you, John, you started off really young. I didn't really get into this stuff until I was in my teens. It took some time, but now I go to comic book conventions and actually, just for a moment, I went to a Florida Comic Con here when I first moved to Miami. I think this was in 2015 or 16. Um, and they have pretty big comic book conventions here. This was the Florida SuperCon, and this was at the Miami Convention Center down at South Beach, or close to South Beach rather. It's in Miami Beach, and they had just a massive, massive, massive hall of collectors and vendors, and I bought up so much stuff, and I think I spent about $500, right? And I was thinking about it, right? I was like really, really just kind of thinking. I was like, wow, I spent $500 on cartoons, basically. I mean, these are comics, are great in story. I mean, there's a lot of artwork. It's not just that, but I mean, that's how much I spent on it. So you know what we are? We're just nerds with jobs and that pays taxes. We're basically kids that just grew up and got jobs, and now we spend it on this stuff, which is fantastic, and I think it's
Yeah,
great.
and the amount of like conventions there are, like, as I go to conventions everywhere,
Mm,
and it just makes it more accessible because there's so many different dealers from all over the place.
hmm.
Like I remember going to Alamo City Comic Con, and I bought the whole first run of Doctor Strange from
Oh,
one vendor,
incredible! Yeah,
and he
that's
had everything. He had everything. I was like, I'll take it, like because I'm a huge Doctor Strange fan. One of the
uh-huh.
first comic books I ever got was Doctor Strange 15. So
Oh, that's fantastic. That's great.
If you can remember, what did a comic cost back then when you were growing up? I mean, what did they go for back
like
in the
8 cents,
how much?
40 cents.
40
Wow.
cents. 40 cents for a comic. 40 cents compared to what now? What do they average now?
About $4 to $6.
40 cents
For
to
a
46
comic, it's four
bucks,
to
man.
six bucks.
Yes.
Wow. Well,
Wow.
so having an actual physical copy of a comic book still means something because DC, and I don't know about Marvel. Maybe you can kind of enlighten me, but
Mm,
DC has their DC Infinite or something, whatever they have their service where you can get the digital comics. You pay a monthly fee, and
right.
you can choose which comics that you can get, whether it's Batman or whether it's Superman or Aquaman, whatever it is, you can choose, and you pay a monthly fee, and you'll get the monthly comic from that, and you can get it digitally, which is still great because you can enjoy the story without, I guess, buying the comic and then opening the comic and then risk messing it up.
Mm. Yeah, just with comic books, like having a physical copy is also having a piece of art. It's also
I
brings
agree. I
Oh
wholeheartedly
yes,
agree.
yes.
bringing memories back. Like when I really started collecting as an adult, I was very intent on finding Web of Spider-Man #1 again because it was a comic book that I lost, and it was easy for me to find.
Hmm.
And then I'm like, wow, like this comic book meant a lot to me when I first had it,
Hmm.
and I always looked for comic books that in the past meant something to me. So like I think there was an issue of the Avengers. Like I actually went to the emergency room for a medical episode, and while I was in the waiting room, there was an Avengers comic book, and like my mom let me read it, and it wasn't until maybe I was like 38 that I found it, and I'm like, this was the one that I read when I had my asthma attack in England.
Wow.
I was in the. It took me a long while to find it, but there's also issues like I'm like I gotta have that just from characters that I really love. Like I'm a Wolverine fan, and
Hmm.
like I got the first run of his solo series, all four of them, and they were all autographed by the ink artist.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, so I was like, and I showed Brian, and Brian almost had a heart attack. But
I got the clamp.
like,
What can I
are
tell you?
you kidding me?
which
It's easy
which
for me to get for clamp.
which he tends to get from time to time.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put you on the spot, John. Can I put you on the spot? Is that
yeah,
okay?
go ahead, go ahead.
I'm gonna put you on the spot.
All right.
Comic characters, and I want you to think about. I want you to consider not just what they can do, not their just incredible abilities, but take into account all the factors for the complexities of the character, the stories of the character, the origins of the character, all those things. Take all that into account.
Mhm.
Which group has the better characters, Marvel or DC?
I am gonna go, even though the DC ones may be more powerful, I'm gonna go with Marvel because they're more
Really?
relatable. They're more relatable. They're a lot of these characters are flawed, and you see in the MCU that they are flawed. Like Doctor Strange, how he was not exactly the most pleasant person when we first see him.
I didn't
But
really think of that.
Hmm.
yeah, all
It
yeah, like all
humanizes them to a degree, is what you're saying.
yeah, like they have not had easy lives, and like the perfect example is Wolverine. Even though he's lived over 100 years, you just imagine all the the sadness he's had to see in that time. He carries a lot of emotion with him, and the fact that he was able to function like losing people, seeing what he saw in war, and then just still being the guy he is and being the hero that people love is what makes these characters so great. I mean, you like with Daredevil, he was blind and he's still able to do what he does. You know,
Yeah, and I want to bring this up because I'm a huge Iron Man fan, which Brian knows, is that there was the demon in a bottle story arc.
oh,
And I'm sure you know about that, how Tony Stark, struggles with alcoholism for a while. And
yeah,
it does humanize people because you never really see that. And you don't even see that in DC Comics day. You don't see people struggling with, dependency or, other issues that may be eating at people. And that's why they named it, and it's appropriately named Demon in a Bottle. So yes, you are, I 100% agree with you, on everything you're saying, unlike with Brian, which I disagree about 95% of everything he says. But
Uh-huh.
just because I have to, I can't agree on everything, because then this wouldn't be a great show, with our millions and millions and millions of viewers out there.
Around the globe. Oh
but
yeah.
uh,
Billions.
but John, we have we have a question from one of our viewers, Johnny B. Good. What is the rarest pop that you own?
The rarest pop I own. That's a good question. It's one I got recently. Um, I'm a huge Baltimore Ravens fan,
Ah.
and like even though if my mom's finding about it, she's probably going to get me later. But I love the Ravens, and my favorite player of all time is Ray Lewis.
Ah,
And
okay.
and especially with the pandemic going around, it's harder to get signed pops. And
Hmm.
I'm like, man, at least a company called $7 a pop every Saturday they have a signature drop of autographed pops, and that particular week it was Jim Kelly, Howie Long, and Ray Lewis,
Hmm.
and I was able to get one.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah,
That's
so
Wow.
so
so
there you go. There's the rarest pop that you own.
yeah, and there's only 195 that were available.
Oh, wow.
So like it also because I'm a sports fan. I also
Yeah.
like I also like the story of Ray Lewis, how he came up,
Uh-huh.
and that he was, and but I was like, I have to have this one because usually some of their drops are like, I don't know, Pauly Shore, I'm not quite sure, but this one I had
The
to have. It's
Weasel.
probably the rarest one. So
That's great. That's
yeah,
great. Well, it's great because it's not just like saying, "Hey, it's just okay. This is rare." It has sentimental value to you, like
yeah,
great sentimental value.
a lot of them do. Even like some of the ones that aren't worth much, like this one, Chapulín Colorado. It's only worth maybe about $15. But the reason I got it is because I used to watch this character with my grandfather.
Of course, of
And
course. That was
yeah,
huge in South Texas.
yeah. So when I saw it, I was like, I had to have it because it brought up those memories. Like
Uh-huh.
every Sunday we'd watch it like at 7 o'clock, and
Hmm.
I was like, it's very like I have to have it, and it's one I'll never give up. I'll never give it up because it's got some sentimental meaning to me, and I always try to go for pops that have sentimental meaning or catch my eye,
Uh-huh.
and it's always the great, especially if you find them at a convention because I love going to conventions. I miss the convention season. Hopefully, it picks back up again soon.
Hmm.
But I love the hunt, especially when you're trying to find it, whether it's a comic book. I know I helped Brian one Comic Con try to find a Black Series figure he was looking for.
Which he
Yeah.
loves the Black Series. Yeah.
Yeah, I helped him find it. He found one.
Uh-huh.
But it's
Yeah.
just I'll see something and I'm like, man, I would love to have that or conjure up memories as a kid. I'm like, I have to have that one. And it's like I want to add to my collection. And like I've sold some in the past only because I was running out of room, but now I buy for sentimental reasons. It has to mean something to me, even if it's not worth much. It's something I love, and I think that's the basis of what collecting is. Like I have a copy of the storyboard script to like Blade Runner, which was given to me as a birthday gift, which I was shocked to get. You know,
Wow.
I'm like Blade Runner is my favorite movie, and I was like, I couldn't believe I had this, and I'm like, I need a safety deposit box.
You're talking the original Blade Runner with Harrison Ford, right?
Yes, the original Blade Runner from
Hmm.
1982. So,
That
and
that is
You know,
that
you
is
you,
great.
you touched on something that I got to get into real quick. So
uh
you talked about how the pandemic has changed everything, and Tell me a little bit about some of the things you've been through, and I'll give you an example for myself to kind of give you an idea. Tell us a little something about some of the things you've been through to get some of the swag that you come up with. For example, lineups, and what was like your worst experience? Because I'll give you my worst right now. My worst was 2005, the Forum Toys R Us when it was here
Mhm.
for the episode 3 launch. Now, what they did was they took all the 3 1/4 action figures and they came up with this brilliant plan that they thought was genius
Uh,
to take all the swimming pools on the floor and just dump all the figures in the pool.
okay, I think we caught that. You broke up a little bit on that, Brian, but I think we got what you're
Oh,
saying. Go ahead. I think you're fine.
so
Yeah.
they took all the kiddie swimming pools put them on the floor, put all the stupid figures in the swimming pools, and then you had the one section in the back that did have a wall of figures. So immediately, everybody thought that all the crap was in the swimming pools. So everybody just bum rushed the wall, and I just remember me and one other person getting to the wall first, and just the wall getting shook and everything falling on top of us. And at that point, I just scrapped it and went to the pools because it was either get to the pools that didn't have anybody there versus being surrounded by a mountain of stuff that fell and it was all around you. It
Mhm.
was just a disaster. So what's your worst nightmare that you
Yeah,
but back when things you had to actually go get it?
let's see. It was actually because of the pandemic. This last year, a company called Plastic Empire had an exclusive. It was a Back to the Future neon green Marty McFly, and I
Cool.
was like, I have to get this. It's going to be $40 and all that. So like, online sales start at a certain time, and it was like it started the first day that New York Comic Con started. Last minute, they decide you have to be at the store to get it, and I'm like, I'm here. I'm here in San Antonio. I can't go to Rochester, New York, in a matter of.
Wow. God.
That
Oh
is
my god!
insane. That
But the
and by
but
the
the plus
way,
side, the
Toast,
plus,
you talked about how you wanted a subscription service for Hasbro. They do it now, by the way.
You got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. They
John, are
actually.
you familiar? Are you familiar with the Hasbro Pulse thing they do for membership?
yeah, they did it back, I believe, in 2012, for a couple years because
Yeah,
Oh.
they what they would do is if you were not able to make it to Comic Con, you could actually get some of the exclusives they offered there through that service.
Oh, wow.
see,
So,
now what they do is on Hasbro Pulse is if you get the subscription
uh-huh.
monthly, you get first dibs on a pre-order.
That's what I was talking about.
I
That is
know, I
exactly what
know.
I said. You know what?
So so
I know I went to business
I don't
school for a reason. I know
so
I went there for a damn
I,
reason.
I don't I don't know if you got I don't know if you got Shapiro or Alan Dershowitz on your Rolodex and you want to go and take a take a
Hey,
class action against Hasbro for
no,
getting
you
your
know what?
membership.
You know what? I'm a capitalist. You know what? I like to see businesses thrive and succeed, but at the same time, I want to see them give the consumers what they want. But remember what the question was. It wasn't saying, Hasbro, you should do this. It was, Brian, would you do this if Hasbro offered it? So
I still pass.
the big question
Still
is,
pass.
Brian, are you doing this?
Nah,
You're not doing this.
nah.
How much is it?
I think it's $10.
A month?
Yeah,
So it's $120 a year just to get a shot. A shot.
yeah. Just to get a shot. See, that's you want $10 out of my wallet, you got to give me a guarantee at a pre-order. I'm sorry.
That's what I was
I'm sorry.
saying. That's what I
You
was
know,
saying. It gives you a guarantee. You
gives
have to
an
do that.
opportunity.
you have to give that guarantee to your subscription members for a certain period of time. Hey, within 48 hours, you have to order this product or this new release or whatever in the hell it is. You have to do it within 48 hours. Otherwise, you forfeit your slot, so
That
to
sounds
say.
fair.
That's what
That's
I
fair.
say you should do. If you're going to pay $10, it should be guaranteed to you for a period of time. Because then it
Now,
said because then it
go
gives
ahead.
you the opportunity to get it instead of these scumbag scalpers, you know?
Don't get me
Oh,
started.
the-
Don't get me started.
Yeah.
You're familiar with scalpers, aren't you, John?
Oh yes, especially in the Funko world. In the
Mm,
Funko world, they're
They're,
everywhere.
and they're shrewd, aren't
wow.
they? They're shrewd.
Yeah, they're very
They
shrewd.
pay off. They pay off warehouse people, stockers from retailers. There's nothing they don't stoop to. These guys.
Yeah, but there's a way around them because luckily the Funko Pop community is really tight, and then there's a
That's what I've heard. Yes,
yeah they like to help each other out, and I
it's
do have
good.
a connection in New Jersey who helps me out.
That's
If
Awesome.
I'm
great.
looking, anyway, if I'm looking for something, he looks for it because we do each other favors. Like if he's looking for something, I find it for him, and
Oh, okay.
it's a lot like that. The Funko community is like they're willing to help each other find certain things. Like hey, I'm looking for the first Rick Grimes with the cowboy hat, and like okay, let me see what I can do, and then within a couple of days they're there. But you have like sites like Mercari where they just mark up the price of Funko Pops like you wouldn't believe, almost to where you some people feel they don't have a choice, but they have to spend that much. But if you
Whew.
look, if you look, and all you have to do is like I tell people, go to social media, join these Funko groups, so like on Facebook, because they actually will help you. A lot of them will post, it would give postings of stuff that will come out like 2 months in advance. That way you're ready. You know when it's going to come out, and um, and they help each other out. They're like, okay, like this figure is going to be released on the Funko shop this coming Wednesday at this time, so be ready. Like they give a heads up, and that's helped me get certain ones. And there's one particular one that where it helped me, and if you can grab it, this is probably the most sought after pop right now. This is the white gown Selena pop.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
there's Selena going on Netflix right
Hey,
now, isn't there?
look,
The
they got
Selena
they
series.
got the Funko Pop of the Salinas.
Yes,
Look
they
at
I
do.
that.
I knew
Awesome.
I knew he was gonna do it. The
It
second you said
looks just
Selena, I knew he
like
was gonna
her.
do it.
Oh
I
my
knew.
God.
Yeah, and the thing is that this sold out in like 10 minutes.
Oh, bitty bitty bum bum. That's what I'm talking about. Look at
Sold
that.
out, it sold out in 10 minutes, and I was able to get one, and it was because they was like it's gonna come out this day at this time. Be ready.
That's great, John. I'm happy for you. That. I mean, I don't know anything about Funko Pops, but I know that that's a rare find. That has to be a
Now,
rare find.
now
Yeah,
we're approaching 20 minutes. I know you've got some stuff to show us,
Oh
but
yeah, yeah, of
before we
course.
go that way, before we go that way, before we
huh?
go that way,
Go ahead.
you know that I ask you this. Are we approaching another season of Walking Dead at some point soon, or what's going on with that?
I think closer. It's always close to like October because
Oh, I see.
they always have like a season premiere thing at New York Comic Con, and that's usually in October. So
Well, I ask you this coming into every Walking Dead. I mean, they haven't killed Daryl yet, have they?
no, no. I know your dislike of him, but
I want him dead so bad. So yeah, I can't believe they haven't killed him yet. They killed everybody else on that thing.
you got to
So
remember they can do what they want with him because he was not in the comic book.
I mean, didn't they even kill the kid? Didn't they? I heard something that they killed the Grimes kid. Didn't they kill him off?
Yeah. He got bitten. Spoiler alert, but he got bitten and
No,
he
we
Oh,
eventually.
we 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 do spoilers
we
here. It's
totally
totally
spoiled
cool.
here.
It's
Yeah,
totally cool.
you
We
can
give
talk whatever
we
you want, dude.
we
It's
give we
spoiled.
give everybody 24 hour. We have a very
24
very
hours.
very strict 24-hour rule. We're
No,
not.
this was
I'm not immune. I'm the co-host, and I'm not immune. If I haven't seen something within 24 hours, Brian doesn't care. He's dropping stuff, and I'm like, la 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 la. He was like, hey, I gave you 24 hours. You had 24
Yeah.
hours to do it. And you know what? I can't get mad because I adhere to the rules. So that's cool, man. You can drop whatever
So
you want.
so before you show off the goodies that you've come to show us, talk to us a little bit about what you appreciate about Star Wars. Maybe which one out of the 9 or the 11, depending on which side you're on, right? Because you
That
got
ain't.
those who say two films aren't really movies, that they're stories, and then you got everyone that says that there's only you got them that says there's only 9 movies, then you got everyone else that says nope, it's actually 11 movies. But however you want to take it, um, maybe just talk to us about, I mean, just the things that awestruck you with Star Wars and that just got you into that realm of fandom.
Yeah, I think as far as Star Wars, when I was in school, I was in school about a couple of years after A New Hope came out, and
Oh yeah,
Scholastic Books actually still were making Star Wars books, and that's my
I
introduction.
remember Scholastic Books. The little
And
logo at the top left corner.
yeah, and my uncle, who was a music major at the time, like had the soundtrack, and I got into
Oh,
that.
did he
Yeah, he did
on vinyl? He had it on
on,
vinyl, or
on vinyl, and he also had like fan books and stuff. And I was always curious, and like I would like to see this movie. And I think downtown at the Aztec Theaters when I first saw it.
that
And
was at the Aztec downtown.
Oh,
That's
off Houston Street.
that's awesome. Oh yeah, off Houston Street. That's
Wow.
great. Yeah.
and and
How old
then
were you? Do you think?
I was 5 years old, and then
5. Okay.
when Empire Strikes Back came out, we moved to England, and it was weird because they're like, oh, there's a new Star Wars movie. I remember going to it, and this is a funny story because I also have a food blog outside of this. I went to a convenience store, and we are going to go get ice cream, and I see this ice cream popsicle with sprinkles on it, and it just said Star Wars. I lift it up, and the sprinkles were in the pattern of Boba Fett's helmet, and I'm like,
Oh,
this.
That is super
I would have
cool.
stayed in my freezer forever if it was me.
Yeah, I
I
was
would
like,
have never left my freezer.
I would have eaten it. I'm a pig, so it's just me.
and it was the only one. They only had one, and my brother had to settle for an ice cream sandwich, but I got it, and I'm like, I have to see this new one, and it was
Mhm.
my introduction to like an ending that you don't expect, almost like a tragic type ending.
Hmm.
Like, not everything is a happy ending and stuff, but it was
Yep.
like at that time the best movie I'd ever seen. I was like, wow. But
Mhm.
like with Brian and I always talked like about different philosophies. About like I love the first three. I enjoy watching the prequels. I don't really judge them, but I enjoy them because it fills in some spaces. And then the recent three, I always like because I just love being in a movie theater, and getting a large popcorn, just seeing the scope of these movies.
Mhm.
But
Now, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
sorry, it's good, it's cool. But I love Star Wars. It's like it's something I can escape to when I'm having a bad day because I don't get tired of watching them ever.
Now,
It's
John, my cohort here,
mhm,
my co- you talked about that you don't judge the prequels. You talked about that.
yeah.
Now, my cohort over here.
I have to. We have a Star Wars fan show.
Hold on,
It's my
hold on.
job.
Let me get it out. He already knows where I'm going with this. He already knows. Yeah, he knows. He's busted again. You talked about how you don't judge the prequels. My cohort over here absolutely unequivocally without any doubts whatsoever judges the sequel trilogy, the one that you
Oh,
just referred to. He doesn't just judge it, he
I
trashes
bash
on
it.
it. He
I
trashes
bash it. I curse Kathleen
it.
Kennedy daily. So
Here he goes. Here he goes. Here he
God,
goes.
yeah, yeah.
Again,
God forbid they
my,
ever watch this show. Be like,
my
God, this.
question being, is the sequel trilogy honestly as bad as he's making it out to be?
I I I like it, but there are some flaws
Oh yeah,
There
Some
are.
I'm not saying
lots, tons,
would
tons.
would you refer to Rian Johnson as Ruin Johnson?
Oh, that's a
Uh,
good nickname.
I hate
I
giving him ideas. I thought
That's
he
a
was
great
already doing it. I
nickname.
guess not. I guess he wasn't doing it. Now I just gave him more ammunition. But would you?
no, but he could have done a lot better. He could have done a lot better. It's just I remember watching The Last Jedi, and I'm like, what is this?
Yes, yes. Finally, someone that agrees with
Yeah.
me.
No.
Yes,
He doesn't agree
yes.
with you all day
Oh, he
because
does. He
But
does.
he.
then again, I hate to say this, but the Rise of Skywalker had a lot of like Star Trek elements in it, and
Ooh, I never even
especially
thought about that.
I didn't
yeah,
think about that myself.
yeah, especially conversations between when they were at the Rebel base, when there were like conversations between them. It were like I thought they might as well just be on the Enterprise. Like
Ah, yeah. So, because the dynamic works a little bit, so might as well. I mean, but
yeah,
you know, with you've seen the show a couple times, John. I mean, you know how it goes back and forth with Brian and I. You know, it doesn't matter how if I believe that the movies are good or bad. It's still Star Wars, and I'm still going to watch it, and I'm still going to appreciate it. The differences
Yeah,
with
get into the
with
aerodynamics of a deep freezer.
that's a
But
great idea. I got to write that down, actually. Aerodynamics of a deep freezer. All right. For the Pfizer COVID vaccine. Got it. So we, we watched this, and I have, as I've grown older, I've gotten a more of an appreciation for the prequel trilogy because I think they've developed a cult following over the years. So like, guys like us, who have seen that movie, who have seen the movies when we were a little bit younger, and now we're a little bit older, we can appreciate the acting and the chemistry between certain characters, Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor. We can appreciate that, and we all are excited about the Obi-Wan series because they're
oh,
both going to be in it. We're super excited about it. It's going to be great. And you know what has for me what has brought back a lot of this love, this prequel love is the memes that I see, the prequel memes. There's a lot of them, and there's just a lot of things that you can take away from that. I mean, like, come on, I mean, hello there. I mean, just something simple like that. And then people know exactly what to say when you say hello there, General Kenobi. That's great stuff. That's pop culture, back in the day, and then it turned into it now. But John, we got 10 minutes, and I don't want to take any more time.
yeah, we
I
got
want
ten
I want to
minutes.
yeah I want to see
So
some of your stuff, man. Some of your swag.
so so
all right.
as you do this, John, if you could kind of go through them and let us know, give it the script and all that stuff, and just let us know maybe how you got it, all that kind of thing. Kind of go, kind of bullet point them as you go through them.
Okay, like the first one, of course, Brian knows I'm a huge heavy metal fan, and one of my
Oh, okay.
heroes was Lemmy Kilmister of the band Motorhead,
Uh-huh.
and I was very sad he passed away. And what Hot Topic did, there's a statue at the Rainbow Bar and Grill. It's like a golden statue of him. So what Hot Topic did is they made a pop of that statue.
Look at the side. Oh man,
Oh,
It's all gold. So
that's great. Look at that.
and it's got the hot topic thing at the bottom right.
Yeah, as an exclusive, right? So
yeah,
does that give that any more value because it has the Hot Topic exclusivity to it, or not really?
initially yes. The only problem is Hot Topic likes to restock quite a bit. The more it gets
Oh, I
restocked,
see.
the
Mm,
value goes down. So
right.
and
Its scarcity gives it its value. Got it. Okay.
yeah, yeah. And about a month ago, actually last year, I had heard about this pop that was made only in Australia, and it was to honor the firefighters. They had some bushfires where the firefighters had to
Of
go
course.
rescue animals,
Right, right, right. I remember that.
and a company called Pop Culture, which is a pop store based in Sydney, decided to we they contacted Funko and said we would like to honor these heroes. So they made this pop, which is a firefighter, and on the leg of the firefighter is a koala.
Oh,
And
I can see it. That's
And that
great.
could only be acquired from Sydney, Australia.
yeah, from Australia, a few
I don't know
Americans
who
were
you
able to
are
get
or where
some.
you came from. But from now on, you do as I say.
Oh,
Okay?
Yep.
the
I,
princess has
I was
joined us.
Yep.
I was
Sorry, had to
I
do
was
that.
lucky to get
Okay.
this one.
That's great, John. That's really good. That's really cool that they
How
did
how
that.
how how were you able to acquire that out of Sydney?
Uh, the site $7 a pop. They buy collections, and they just happen to
Oh,
have it.
so it was through there.
It was
Oh,
through there.
nice.
And also, we're going to go from Australia to Japan, where they have many anime conventions, and they do have a few pop exclusives. So I was able to pick up this Astro Boy exoskeleton exclusive.
Oh, look at that. That's incredible. Convention exclusive 2016. One of those generalized convention exclusive things, right?
So,
Yeah,
but
like
a convention in Japan or a
in
convention?
Japan. Yeah, so the anime
Mm-hmm.
convention in Chiba, which is a northern suburb of Tokyo.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, an anime convention.
Yes.
All right.
Wow.
And let's see. Also, on the as far as heroes, I was this is pretty common, but it has a special meaning because I have several friends who are nurses. I have a friend who's a doctor, and it's the Frontline Heroes pop.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Oh, nice.
That's great. You know,
That's really nice.
my dad and my sister would love that. That'd be fantastic. That's great.
That
Yeah.
was very nice.
Yeah.
That's
And what I also like is Funko has started to make a lot more music pops, and they had some very early, and I was able to get one that because I'm a huge Beatles fan, and I'm always talking about the Beatles with Brian,
Hmm.
and I was able to get Ringo Starr.
Hey, oh, it's really
So
awesome. That's a really awesome pop there.
yeah,
That's great.
he's
you.
he's just happy to be here.
You're able to
Uh,
get that with a little help of your friends.
Yeah, and this one I this one came out like towards the beginning of the Funko Pop era.
mhm.
Is that
And,
right?
yeah, and of course this was part of the Yellow Submarine set where they had all four Beatles and the Blue Meanie, and the Blue Meanie is usually the hardest one to get. So that one, and let's see here. Here's another one. Oh, here's one with an arrow still going on the rock and roll scene. This is a 3-pack of
Oh, the
all
police.
the Police.
Yes.
This is
Oh, you know, my mom would love that. She is a huge fan of Sting. Huge fan. I grew up listening to that. When he was,
yeah,
when they were the police before he went solo. That's
yeah.
yeah, that's
That's
great.
really cool.
But there's only one problem with this set. Even though this could be purchased on the Funko website only, but there's one error, and that's like Sting has the right color. These two are the wrong color. It's supposed to be Andy Summers who's red. Stuart Copeland's supposed to be blue.
Oh, so I mean, is that all of them, or is that just
It's,
the
it's all
ones?
three of
But it's the one that you have, right?
them. This one I have, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it's an error, but
Ah.
this is a very cool one. So I also have they also made regular ones,
Uh-huh.
uh, comments, and I happen to have an extra Sting if you want it. So
Oh, that'd be great.
Oh,
Oh man,
I'll pass it
that's
along to Brian. So there's
yeah.
that one, and let's see here. Let's pick a good one. Like I was talking about, it was like there are some pops that have what you would call a chase variant. Not all of them, but when a manufacturer gets the pop figures, they come in boxes of 6. And
Uh-huh.
one of those 6 is different, and it's the same character, just a variant, and
Hmm.
it's marked by what you would call the chase sticker.
Okay.
And this is Wesley from The Princess Bride.
Ah, yes. Okay.
And say, for instance,
Very familiar.
So if you got both of them, the common and this one, the common right now is valued at $8. This one's valued at 75.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So
That's
like
great.
I tell people, if you can find a chase, get it.
It looks like you have it in a more or a more rigid case, a plastic
Yeah,
rigid case.
yeah. This
Oh,
is
from the Princess Bride,
Hmm.
right?
yes,
Princess Bride.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
This is called a pop
And what
stack.
was the uh,
A
This is called a
pop.
what
pop
was the
stack.
variant?
The variant. See, the variant has the mask. The
Oh,
Oh, the other one doesn't have, because
okay,
you can see it in the front of the box. It doesn't have the mask. Okay, got
that's
it.
true.
yeah, but like that's another important thing. It's fairly inexpensive to protect your pops. Like the company I mentioned earlier, $7 a pop,
Uh-huh.
have very inexpensive soft protectors and acrylic. They have every kind of protector for any size pop.
That's
And
great.
so that's
That's
this one.
that's super cool.
I have one that my dad wanted really bad, but I'm not going to give it to him, and that's Evil Knievel.
Ah, yes. Oh
Oh, that's
man.
sweet. The
Yeah, that
helmet and
is.
everything.
Okay,
And
That is too
with a Chase
cool.
logo. Okay.
so that one,
Uh-huh.
that one. So like of course, I told Brian I was going to bring a Grail that's
Yes.
Star Wars themed for this show. I got it for this show,
Yeah,
and
Okay.
I'm ready for this.
I was excited. So I'm gonna show it to you. So you ready?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. What? She
Yeah,
signed it?
yep.
It's a
Daisy
That's
Ridley
this
Daisy
signed it?
Ridley's name there. That's
Where? How did you get that?
Daisy Ridley.
I got it through a guy who was
It looks like
he's
such fresh ink too. It's just crazy.
Yeah,
he's had it in this protector since he got it. So
that's great. So you got it from somebody else.
yeah, he was basically a dealer at the Chicago Star Wars Celebration,
Oh, okay.
and he got two of them, and he offered one to me,
Hmm.
and he also sent me the program, one of his passes, and then a collector's edition comic book from the convention. So
Oh, you got some great stuff there.
yeah, I did, and I was like, and the thing is there's been some controversy with private signings, and one of the controversial ones has been with Daisy Ridley.
Hmm.
And like there was one where they were charging $285 just to sign a Funko Pop.
Wow, that's
So
incredible.
yeah, so like the value of this one is going up because of how rare this autograph is,
Yeah.
and it's been certified. It has a hologram in the corner.
Okay.
Oh, neat.
Wow.
Yeah, and then
And
like
you got the program, and you got
yeah, and I have a pass, and then the comic book,
It's like you
and
were there. It's almost like you were there.
yeah, with the Ray Lewis one that has
Uh-huh.
a decal
Uh-huh.
and a certification that matches the number on the decal. So there's several ways that they can certify that.
That's great. That's really awesome. I mean, I
I'm
have I have
I'm
I
blown
have
away.
I have Deion Sanders' signature on a photo of his, and there's nothing to it. I mean, it's just like he was nice enough to sign it for me, and that's all I have. But that's really cool. I mean,
I'm blown away.
yeah, that's great stuff.
I'm not
And
only blown away, I'm insanely jealous.
yeah, man, and you know what, Brian, we got May the 4th coming up. And
We
it's gonna
do.
yeah, it's gonna hit us sooner rather than later, and it looks like we're gonna have
Hmm.
to make our own fun, because there's gonna be a lot of stuff that's not happening. Um,
Well, you
but
got Bad Batch.
yeah, we got Bad Batch. We can talk about Bad
Bad
Batch,
Batch.
but
Yeah.
John, this has been a real treat, and I always admire someone that has this real passion for collecting, because it takes a lot of work, and there's a lot of people out there that don't really see and understand, and really it's the thrill of the hunt. And Brian and I have talked about this before,
Yeah,
and
there's a lot of strategizing. So
yeah, there really is. And again, it's your networking too, because look, you have a friend in Jersey, and you guys work together, you help each other out. It's a community, and my voice just squeaked like I'm going through puberty all over again at 40 years old. This is great. Um, but we've had a great show, Brian. This was
Yeah.
awesome. Thanks
It's
for
been a
thanks
good
for
show.
thanks for setting this up, Brian. John, thanks for coming
Thanks,
on.
John.
This is
Thanks for
this is
having me.
yeah, this is great. I'd
Oh,
love
well, I'd
to.
like to have you back.
Yeah, we'd love to have you on again, schedule permitting. We would love to have you on again.
Yeah,
It's
because I'm gonna
always
because I'm gonna see what I can get me for May 4th. I'm gonna try my skills at
Oh,
some collectibles. So
that's great, and we really need to kind of devote a little bit more time towards the collecting aspect of it because it is it's big. It's not just a part of Star Wars. It is Star Wars. That's what's going on here. It's like you are collecting these things because that's what Star Wars is now. It's not just movies. It's an entire universe, and there's just so much that goes on with it to include the comic series that Brian and I haven't really talked about a lot lately because they've been delayed for a little while. But yeah, it's really big, and I hope everybody that's watching, got a little bit of insight as to what goes into all this. And sometimes I forget because I don't do as much collecting as I would like. I don't have a whole lot of time to do that, but when I can and when I do, I feel the exact same euphoria that you and Brian feel when you finally find something or retrieve something, especially something that takes you back to your younger childhood, because it doesn't just take you back to, hey, this is cool. I remember when I was a kid. No, it takes you back to a period of time when you were super happy and maybe you didn't have responsibility and this is all you had to worry about. That's what brings it all back is the nostalgia of it. But again, John, thanks for coming on. Brian, we're gonna yubnub out of here really quick.
yep.
Just want to remind all of our viewers, stay safe, wear your mask, get vaccinated if you can. We want everybody to be safe, and we are hoping that
do.
we're at the tail end of this pandemic, and people are no longer suffering and hurting from this, because we all want to go back to conventions. We all want to go back to how it was. But the show will never stop. So we'll keep going. John, will you stick around and yub nub with us out of here, and then we'll talk to you here post production.
sure.
Okay. Hey, Brian, let's go ahead and yub nub out of here,
Do it.
man. All right,
All
man.
right.
We'll talk to y'all later,
Yep,
John.
yep.
Thanks a lot.